consumers want to make sure that their health is protected and that they aren't harming their children when they put toxic chemicals in their products. I think it was something that as a college student I learned about. I had friends who studied environmental chemistry, and they would always mention certain kind of carcinogens and products to me. But I didn't start to understand it more until I worked on a project around organizing young women around safe cosmetics and the issue of so many of the toxic chemicals in our cosmetics, and how a lot of those toxic chemicals have a disproportionate impact on women's reproductive health. And I think as a young woman myself, you know, I'm only 2 or 3 years older than a lot of the people I work with. It's also very kind of like personal for me too, and I'm passionate about it as well. The group I worked with is a group of young women called WATCH. It stands for Women Against Toxic Cosmetics Harm. So we shipped off a bunch of the personal care products that we use every day. So I'm trying to think some examples. One was Burt's Bees foot lotion, and one was, I think, Pert's Plus shampoo or stuff like that. And we shipped it off to be tested for toxic chemicals. And when we got back the results, they were pretty surprising. A lot of the products that we use every day have toxic chemicals, and a lot of those toxic chemicals aren't necessarily on the label. For example, there's this nail polish, and I think the label was called Sinful Colors, and it identified as being formaldehyde-free, big bold letters on the nail polish. And so, you know, just to make sure, we tested it for formaldehyde, and as it turned out, it did have formaldehyde in it. And I guess how they were able to get around that in labeling laws was they put in chemicals that broke down into a compound similar to formaldehyde or identical to formaldehyde, and thus they were able to say, we don't add formaldehyde into this nail polish even though it was there. So many of the young women I've worked with have realized that it's not something you could shop your way out of. You can't go to the store and make sure you buy something without toxic chemicals because they're not on the label, and sometimes the label is incredibly misleading. So that's why we think political action is a necessary next step. Stronger and updated laws. Our chemical safety system is so out of date. We need TSCA reform, and we need reform around safe cosmetics. Numerous new chemicals have been introduced into the environment and are completely unregulated. And when I think about 1976, so many of the people I work with, that is 15 to 10 years before they were born. And it's definitely time to make it up to date and to match kind of the products that we use to make sure that they're regulated. At the Maine Women's Policy Center, we've worked with a few businesses that have made a business out of being responsible and safe. I think about Au Natural's laundry detergent. One of my coworkers makes sure to drive out to Skowhegan to buy her laundry detergent at this particular place because she knows it's a local Maine business and that they don't use toxic chemicals in their products. I think it's pretty much undeniable that having products free of chemicals is good for business and good for our communities.